Attention. Due to the nature of the films discussed, the Civil Gore podcast may contain adult language and themes.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to episode 75 of the Civil Gore podcast. I am your host, Tim.
And I am your host, Brian, and I'm struggling a little tonight. My voice will be more obnoxious than ever because I seem to be fighting either some allergies or cold. So hopefully Tim's dulcetness will make up for it. You know, he'll be extra dulcety tonight.
I'm trying. I am lubricating my dulcet tones with an Elysian Night Owl Pumpkin Ale. This is one I just discovered. I had not had this one before, and it's very, very good. It's very, I was telling Brian before the show, it's very pumpkin spicy, which I normally shy away from in my pumpkin beers because I like the actual genuine pumpkin. But this one has really genuine pumpkin underneath. It's made with pumpkin mash and pumpkin seeds, and so it has that underlying true pumpkin that enhances the spice on top. So I highly recommend the Elysian Night Owl. It's really good.
There you go. That one's I have to try that one. I got to track that one down. I like all Elysian stuff too, like Space Dust, one of my favorites. Yeah,
they have some good stuff. So I didn't know they had a pumpkin beer, and then I saw Night Owl, and I thought it was just like a brown ale or something because it doesn't. Usually pumpkin ales have to have a pumpkin pun in them somewhere.
Yeah, usually.
Like, oh, Night Owl. Wait, that's a pumpkin ale. Okay. So
yeah, I want to say they had another pumpkin one later. I think they're the ones that made like a Imperial Pumpkin IPA last year, but I'm not sure. I could get confused. Usually around this time of year, anything that says pumpkin on it is usually usually grab it. So I to the point of the detriment of them all blending into one thing, and I have to really think to separate them. So they may have another one. I'm not sure, but I know it wasn't Night Owl. I can tell. I definitely am sure of that.
I've been disappointed because I have not been able to find like my general supply of pumpkin and Oktoberfest this year. Like they just haven't had them out, and I don't know if maybe the storm has affected shipments and stuff because I have noticed there's a lot of stuff that seems to be delayed. Like even our Halloween store here was like they were still putting stuff up on the shelf, and it is October. Yeah. So I think that 2-week delay in shipments really wreaked some havoc with these kind of fall Halloween type shipments of stuff. A lot of the stores just got really restocked last week, so or late part of last week. So it's they're running way behind. So I'm hoping I'll get a bigger flood of fall and Oktoberfest beers coming in the next week or so.
Yeah, that makes sense because around here they've been before we even left. Julie had picked up some Warlock and Pumpkin from Costco, so they had the bigger bottles. They got a big shipment, so yeah, you're probably just a little behind, which means though it'll be good. It'll extend your season a little further.
Yeah, there you go. All right,
just see silver linings all the time.
Well, we are doing a timely episode this week. Our school theme kind of got squashed by the hurricane, so we had to kind of scramble for. We didn't really have an October theme. I guess we're just going to do movies we want to watch. Oh, imagine that. No theme. Wow. What a concept.
Wow, I know.
But that's kind of refreshing just to be able to pick a movie every week. So we decided to do HOUSE LLC 2, the ABADDON Hotel, because that's one we've both been looking forward to. One we had watched recently, or we're in the process of watching. And it kind of ties into our whole haunt trip from Orlando. So I think it was a good choice for October. And got a pretty big first chop and a pretty big dismemberment this week, so we probably should get right to it.
I say, let's go.
All right, here we go with our first chop. All right, Brian. Well, I did not slack off. I did my alphabet project this week, and we are now up to letter R. I am a little behind, of course, from what we had thought our schedule was going to run, but we'll just keep it going. R is for Red Christmas. This is one I did not get to watch when it came out. One of the Christmas horrors. I wanted to watch it. It's just for some reason I never got around to it, because obviously it stars our favorite Dee Wallace. So very highly looking forward to this one. I have to admit, the first 5 or 10 minutes, I was not feeling this one at all. I was like, oh, this is kind of cheesy. I don't know if I'm going to like this. I kind of had not read much about it, so I had in my mind what the movie is going to be about. Let me tell you, this movie blew me away.
Oh, really?
This
that's good.
Thing is so cool. Yes, it is. I can't give much away, but there is an unexpected visitor to Dee Wallace's household. And
is it E.T.?
No, it is not.
Okay.
But it is a little more terrifying than E.T. But I don't want to go into too much detail about how this visitor acts, because that's part of the charm of this movie. But suffice it to say, it has a lot of elements that I love, like vagrants and freaks and just this
nice.
weird thing coming into their house. And it's just such a cool character and villain in this movie.
And it's still on streaming, right? On Amazon or Netflix, right? One of them.
Go check this one out. This is absolutely a must-see for the Christmas season. It's probably one of my new favorites because the concept is just so bizarre and out there for a Christmas movie. I was totally expecting one thing, and it completely went a whole different direction. So, yeah, Red Christmas is a delight. A delight. See what I did there? A delight.
I saw it.
Right.
Actually, that's we create those shirts for her. That's Kickstarter in the making.
And so I also watched another one, Brian, and we were trying to figure out if we had talked about this before. I think we mentioned it when it first came out, but I just saw this recently. I know I saw it right before the storm, so I don't think I talked about it on the episode.
Oh, yeah, if you just saw it then, we definitely did not talk about it.
Yeah, this is Demon House. This is the Zach Bagans documentary of Zach Bagans of Ghost Adventures.
Not Zach Bagans, the Hobbit.
No,
with
not
his brother
Baggins.
to Bilbo
It is Bagans because he said it on the documentary.
No, I know it.
I was wondering.
If I don't come up with a pun,
because I'm a Lord of the Rings fan, but it is Bagans.
Yeah,
but yeah. So if you've watched any Ghost Adventures, which I love, I love his "come at me, bro" attitude. He likes to call it the spirits, dude. Come at me, bro. He's like in full force with this one. So what happened is there was this house that supposedly had a demon in it, and there was a case of demon possession in it. A caseworker said that she saw this kid, climbing backwards up a wall. Strange things happened in the house. His family ended up moving out. It was a very famous case. And the house went on the market. So Zach Bagans bought it, sight unseen. And to make this film of him going in and investigating this house or whatever. And I love, don't get me wrong, I love him. I love Ghost Adventures. I think it's hilarious and entertaining. But this movie, the one thing I never liked about Ghost Adventures is when he does his whole thing about I don't want to say he pretends. Yeah. But I'm a skeptic. But when he is possessed by demons or whatever and goes into rage mode. So this has happened several times on his show. So this documentary, if you like seeing that side of Zach Bagans where he's like, it's like, dude, I'm going rage because I'm possessed by a demon, or he acts weird because he's supposedly possessed by a demon. You'll get a lot of that in this movie. Nothing really happens in it other than a lot of the background and stuff is interesting. I'll give it that. The story and stuff is kind of cool, but there's a lot of red flags here as to whether this is all true or not. And then him, acting demon possessed on top of it, just kind of eye roll inducing. But I would still watch it just for the entertainment value, especially if you kind of tongue in cheek like that Ghost Adventure stuff.
Yeah, I mean you have to kind of tongue in cheek that show. Yeah. I mean,
come on.
Like we said, I think in the past, it's like he gets a bad rap and he gets this whole it's hokey and everything. But you know what? He was one of the first to do these kind of shows, so you got to give him credit for that.
I'll tell you what, I'm skeptical, very, very skeptical of ghost paranormal investigation shows and stuff. But I love the idea of it, and if it's entertaining, it's entertaining. I love watching those shows.
And you've never seen the Dead Files yet, still, right?
I've seen some episodes of the Dead Files.
Oh, you've seen some? Okay,
not nearly to the level I have of Ghost. Oh my gosh, what am I thinking of? Taps, Ghost Hunters, and Ghost Adventures. It's been a while since I've watched any of these, but. Yes, I enjoy that stuff. In fact, my next door neighbor, across the street, is a paranormal investigator with our local ghost club. And I got to talk to him a while last night when we were out discussing Halloween decorations. So he was telling me of all his investigations he's done on the battleship and some of the EVPs he's captured and stuff. Fascinating stuff. And I want to get him on the show. I think he's a little podcast shy, but he does have some... friends.
Got to get him on.
Yeah, he does have some friends that he said he could probably hook me up with that have done other podcasts. So I thought that would be a cool Halloween interview or something if we can get up with one of those guys. So.
Oh yeah, then maybe we'll have to go on like a live ghost hunt with them once.
Yeah, I was kind of hinting at that. Cool. I was like, oh, 'cause he was like, yeah, we've gone down to Battleship. I'm like, oh, that would be fun. Yeah. Wink, wink. That'd be real fun. I would love to do that.
Especially if I come down and visit too. You sell it, say, oh, my friend's in town. He's always wanted to kind of see this battleship.
Yeah.
So say, perfect. Yeah. Now, of course, we've blown our plan up on live podcast, but so hopefully they didn't listen yet.
Yeah. All right. So next up, Brian, you got to see one I've been looking really forward to seeing. That is Hellfest.
Yes. So it's funny. I mean, I obviously don't want to spoil anything for Tim. I definitely liked it. I enjoyed it. I mean, basically, it was, think about it. It's a horror movie taking place at a horror themed park and haunt, and obviously it has all the characteristics of the similar movies that are like that. It definitely. I mean, I don't know how to say this without... It's not going to spoil it because it's not as specific. It just seems like at one point in the movie, right where it really gets going, it shies away from the gore. And I was just a little disappointed because it had some... It starts off with, the first couple of gore moments in it are amazing. And then there were 2 chances where they could have done it again, and they kind of backed out of it. And I was really, in fact, it had one moment which made me and Julie both like literally visibly cringe in our seats and curl up to go like, oh, and then it just gave up on it, and it was weird. So
that's interesting.
Overall, I still think it was definitely an enjoyable movie by means, and also one more negative thing, it did not have enough Tony Todd.
Oh yeah, and you can never have enough Tony Todd.
I know. There should have been way more of him. I mean, his voice is in it a lot, but his actual physical performance is very short-lived, and I was very bummed about that. Just not to spoil anything. He doesn't die or anything. He's just not in it a lot.
Yeah.
So I was a little bummed on that, but still, overall, it's definitely a fun time. I mean, is it a rush to go out and see it in the theater? No. Our crowd was kind of like it was like a quarter full, the theater, so. That could have taken a little bit out of it because, you tend to have when there's a crowd screaming and going, along with you. It's definitely more fun, but I don't know. This one was kind of like a kind of a dull crowd. But you know what? I prefer that to when it's like my Hereditary crowd where people start laughing through the whole thing and making jokes every 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So
it sounds like this one might be a wait for a rental for me.
Yeah, I mean, but you would like it. You would definitely like it because it's a lot of haunt stuff. And just for that alone, I'm trying to look at it as a more of a general viewer. Mm-hmm. For us, we'll probably enjoy it more than the next people just because of all the haunt and the walkthrough haunts and the cool premise for the way this park is set up.
Right.
So, stuff like that.
And then tell us about your haunted graveyard at Lake Compounce.
Yeah, so this was something I said I would do every year. I unfortunately couldn't make it last year. And after, doing Hollywood, I keep saying Hollywood Horror Nights because I get Hollywood Nights and Halloween Horror Nights confused into one event. But, so after Halloween Horror Nights, I was so pumped. I'm like, oh, I gotta go to another thing. So we kind of had this planned, which is at the Lake Compounce amusement park in Bristol, Connecticut. It's a very small little park, but it does possess one of the top wooden roller coasters in the world, in my opinion. It is my personal favorite, Boulder Dash, and they have a award-winning haunt there. They have every year. It's called the Haunted Graveyard, and it's just out the back of their property. So it's kind of most of the building must be set up year round because it just doesn't make sense to take it down. And what it is, it's a 45-minute walkthrough haunt. And there really isn't a storyline to it. There's just a bunch of random sequences. And some are better than others, but it's super impressive. Its only knock is that it's not Halloween Horror Nights. So to go
and that's ruined every haunt for you now.
Kind of. I mean, let me tell you, I still enjoyed it because I still love the park and I still love the effort they put out. And it still, if you were in the area, it is a must see because first of all, not everybody can get down to Halloween Horror Nights unless you're in Orlando or you're near enough to Orlando or Hollywood. But and the event is good, and it actually the first weekend was the weekend to go. I gotta say because it was $24.99 a person. It included the entry into the rides, the haunt, a fast pass to get the timed entry at 7 o'clock into the haunt, and a free flight of beer with their Boo and Brew Festival, which to me, that you can't beat that value for $25.
Wow, that is insane.
Yeah, and the beers were pretty good. I mean, they had almost every brewery there, other than Two Roads, I had not heard of. So it was pretty good. So I sampled a ton of new beers that I never had. And it was really good. And they have some good food and stuff, little stands and everything. And there's some really fun scare actors out in the midway. Not quite scare zones because that park's just not themed that way. So, but it's like they all run around. They have the typical chainsaw people. They have creepy witch women, stuff like that. But yeah, so it's fun. I don't know how else to describe it. That's what they kind of are. But but yeah, so it's like as I compared it, I was trying to tell this to my mom and stepdad the other day when they were asking what we did and compared to to Halloween Horror Nights. I said, well, I said it's almost like you're taking the most expensive bottle of wine one weekend, and then the next wine you have is boxed wine. It's
like it's still okay to drink.
It's still good,
yeah,
and it's still you'll still drink it and get your value, but it's you're still like, wow, if only it was as good as this. And that is I know that sounds like a horrible knock on the Haunted Graveyard. It's not, because up until Halloween Horror Nights, I thought it was by far the best haunt I've been to. So yeah, maybe it's a little extreme with the boxed wine reference, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's just Halloween Horror Nights is so above and beyond everything else. This is always my second level.
Yeah, that's why I'm terrified to go to Scarewinds later this month. Not because I'm scared, but because I don't think it's going to live up to Halloween Horror Nights in any way, shape, or form. So,
it's hard. It's hard, yeah. And and plus the bonus of going to this thing is you get those legendary night rides on Boulder Dash, which Tim, you need to get down here for. I still don't have my Boulder Dash at some point.
No, I've got to come up for that event specifically.
Yeah, you really do, and we'll tie it in with Sleepy Hollow. We'll tie it in with a couple things,
yeah.
So we'll get you a nice, good New York area haunt.
Cool.
And well, I guess that's New England too up there. So New York, New England haunt.
So we had some Friday the 13th lawsuit news, and Brian, I didn't read much into this. I saw the headlines, but I didn't get to read much about it. So why don't you give us the details?
Yeah, so I read into it, and I apologize if I don't say this the best way. I'm going to say this right away. Again, the best person that explains this down into terms that everyone can understand is Shelley himself, Larry Zerner from Friday the 13th Part 3, who has become an entertainment lawyer, and he has been constantly following this case and explaining it every time there's some kind of announcement or something from it. He's really good explaining it, and so if you follow his Twitter, you'll get a really good breakdown of it. But kind of the gist of it is, so Victor Miller won his part of the case, and basically he has the rights. And like I said, apologize if I get this a little wrong. It's very confusing kind of a case. He has the rights to the name Friday the 13th. It's only the U.S. rights, though. He has the character Pamela Voorhees is under him. I think Jason, the name, is under him, but not Jason Voorhees per se, the character that we know with the hockey mask, because of course that was not a character under the original Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
So it's one of those tricky situations. I guess Horror Inc., which is Sean Cunningham's thing, they have the international rights now. So according to them, it made it look like right at this point, they're going to appeal, but it looks like at this point, new Friday the 13th content can possibly be announced shortly. It seems like this is a positive in it because, I mean, at this point, I think once the case is settled, that was the key. It's just who has what rights, who has this, who has that. So, yeah, it's really really tricky because one, I am not a lawyer too, and then second of all, you throw that legal jargon out there, and you're like, okay, this has this right, this has this right, and since Friday the 13th was such a funny franchise where Jason was, I don't know, originally was probably just meant to be what he was the boy that drowned. Now, technically his persona that we know and love was not developed by Victor Miller, so he does not have those rights. So I'm wondering, and isn't that kind of why Jason Lives the Final Friday was called that, not any Friday the 13th or something. I think that was part of that.
Yeah, it's really strange. I mean, I can't think of another franchise where your main character doesn't show up until the second movie. That's bizarre.
I mean, and what you know of him is not really wasn't there until the third.
Yeah.
I mean, the iconic, like, imagine like Michael Myers didn't put his mask on until like I guess I can't say the third in this one, but the fourth, let's say, at the return of Michael Myers, he finally got the mask. You'd be like, oh, what the heck is this?
But I think the point is now that they once they have a resolution, then they can craft content around what's legal, at least right now they're frozen because they can't do anything for fear of being sued.
Right.
But once they at least have a verdict, then we can get something. It might not be called Friday the 13th. It might just be called Jason. And that's your reboot, or Voorhees or something.
Right. I mean, which I got news for you. It's, I think Jason has become so iconic you don't need the Friday the 13th name. You can just say Jason Voorhees and you all know what he's from.
They should have Voorhees and then the sequel will be called Morehees.
There you go. And then when they get up to the fourth one, it'll be Voorhees. A jolly good fellow, Voorhees. No, okay, sorry. So anyway, but speaking of that, now that's funny. When you said that, I thought of something. So what about Camp Crystal Lake? Now, is that part of it? Can they use the term Camp Crystal Lake? Because that was announced in the first one. See, that's where like I said, probably Larry Zerner made a ton of tweets today, so it's probably somewhere embedded into his really good description of what happened. So
I wish they could just come to an agreement, and like Fox and Marvel did, or whatever. What was the thing?
Yeah,
where they agreed to, or Sony. It was Sony, and they said, "Can we get Spider-Man in a Marvel movie, Avengers movie?" And they made a lucrative deal so that both parties won. Like, I wish you could do something like that, where you say, "Hey, look, let's all make some money here."
Yeah,
and come to an agreement where we can just reboot Friday the 13th and everybody gets a piece of the pie, and I don't know.
Well, I think that's what is going to happen eventually, because I think, like you said, now that they have the lines drawn, so to speak, and they have the decision is made, and they know who has what right, then they can start the healing process, let's say, of what can we do so everyone's happy. And really, the ones that were suffering through this of all is us, the fans, who lost new content to the video games, hasn't had a new movie in years, right when a new movie would be so perfect with the announcement of all the other franchises. And I just realized it's not on our rundown, but there's a heavily rumor about the Halloween television series featuring Michael Myers in it. So, I mean, right now, like, I got news for you. And another thing we didn't announce, because from Cohen, too, we saw that on the trip, is that Robert Englund is going to be playing Freddy on the Goldbergs this year in an episode. So you've gotten two big the icons, plus you got the Chucky reboot, plus you got the Texas Chainsaw Massacre series in the works. Where are you, Jason? We need you.
You're getting left in the dust here.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, next up on the rundown, we kind of do these in just random order.
You got me a lot in a row there.
Yeah, this is a big one though. We are doing the second annual Civil Gore Horror Movie Challenge. Now, we were a little pressed for time on this one because of the hurricanes. We really lost 2 weeks of planning on this, but we kind of scrambled, as we always do, for everything.
Yeah, we always find a way.
So we have come up with the second Civil Gore Horror Movie Challenge, and what we're going to do is this is going to be a week-by-week challenge. So this will be challenging. You're going to have to watch a movie a night, basically, to
pretty
complete
much
this. And
just so you know, Cody's already got one down.
Ooh.
I mean, this obviously is not going to drop until Friday, so she'll probably have all 5 by that point.
Yeah. So,
but she already got her first one.
What we're going to do is...
I did too, actually.
She'll do it. I have no doubt. What we're going to do is we're going to post a video at the beginning of the week telling you the following week's challenge, and it's day by day, but there's a theme for each week. So the first week is Decades of Doom. So we will have you starting October 1st, and by the time you hear this week will already be over.
Yeah, hopefully you've
already seen it, but we're going to be doing this.
Yeah, you've seen my dorky video.
I liked your video.
And post.
I thought it was very well done. But
well, thank you.
We'll be announcing these day by day. So if you haven't checked it out yet, definitely go back. Now you got some catching up to do. Go back, see
Yep.
Brian's video, look at our Facebook page. We posted all the things. I won't go through them here, but basically the first week's theme is you watch a movie from every decade, from the 60s on up to modern. And tell us what you watched. We'll have a reminder at the end of the episode, but we're going to have you hashtag it and tell us what movies you're watching. Might give us some ideas. I've already picked out my movie for the October 1st. Because I'm recording this on October 1st, so by the time you hear this, I will have already watched it, and all of the other ones, I'm sure.
Yeah, I have, and I actually watched my first one today already. I started last night. I cheated a little bit. I started late last night.
Well, I think you're going to have to. I think you're going to have to like double up when you can, and but that's okay.
Yeah, as long as you have the I guess it's 6 or 7 per week, depending on which week it is, because some have a shorter. Because obviously October 1st started on a Monday, so you only get a 6-day week. You could, I know, like, it looks as almost if you have to do one a day. As long as you have the full amount by the end of the week, that counts.
Or even by the end
of
of the month, I don't really care. I mean, I know the last year's challenge, I had to do a lot of catch up because I did a lot of travel. So I was like, at one point, I was like, 10 movies behind with 5 days left or whatever. So.
Yeah, I'm going to try and stick to it at least by week, which will be, because I got to make up some ground. I bombed that challenge last year because of the wedding I had and the whole bunch of stuff. So I can't have an excuses this year because I fell a few short last year. So this year I'm going to try and stick to it. And I already got the one down. I got the first one I did was on Shudder. It was called, I'm going to tweet it out later tonight. I didn't get a chance yet, but it's The Dungeon of Harrow.
Ooh.
From 1962. It's on Shudder. Really cheesy old movie. It's kind of like this guy gets shipwrecked. This well-to-do guy gets shipwrecked on this island where this crazy count, who's I guess, and his family has leprosy, and they're trapped in this. It's really bizarro, but it's kind of fun at the same time,
Well, the one I picked for my 1960s was The Raven from 1963, of course, based on the Edgar Allan Poe poem. And this was a Roger Corman film starring Peter Lorre and Vincent Price.
Oh, wow.
And Boris Karloff. So how good
God.
is this one? I haven't watched it yet, but I'm gonna finish watching it after we record tonight. So, we'll tweet those out and let you know what we think of them. Put some impressions in there.
Yeah.
Up next, first-person horror game Apparition on Steam.
Yeah, that's like the guy, and I completely, just completely bombed on the name of the game that's similar to that one, like something Exposure or something where you basically go through with a camera.
Yeah.
And you take, what was that? Remember that game?
I don't remember what it was called, but
yeah, I completely forgot the name, like Picture or something. I don't know. But anyway, this one is similar. Yeah, there we go. If that's not it, that's what it is now. But this one's kind of similar where you go in there, but this time you have not only a camera, but like EVP equipment and stuff like that. Like, so all these so you go in there and you have to capture these ghosts through various different methods. I only read briefly of it because I kind of don't want anything spoiled on it, but I think it comes out later this month on Steam. So I'm going to keep an eye out for that because that seems like a really fun game, especially in a nice haunted October month.
Yeah, that sounds fun. Next up, Black Mirror Season 5 will have a choose-your-own-adventure style episode. They seem to be kind of one-upping themselves every season. I think last season's highlight was that crazy Star Trek episode.
Oh, my God, yeah.
But yeah, choose-your-own-adventure style episode. I've heard that Netflix was going to start experimenting with this in different television and movie properties on how to choose your own ending kind of things.
Yeah, they did something with a kid's show, I read.
They did. Joshua and Anna actually played it, and it was kind of interesting technology. Like there'd be a moment when the story would pause and it would say, do you want to do this? Hit left. If you want to do this, hit right. Sort of like the old VCR games or the DVD
Oh my God, I remember those.
Yeah. And then it would play. It was kind of neat, kind of cool for like a streaming show to do that. I mean, I guess it's no big deal if they could do that on a DVD and a VHS tape. Of course, they could do it on a streaming service.
Yeah, it's probably, and think about it. It's no different than, because the remote is always responsive. So if you think about it, you can always just pause or click out of the movie at will. That's the whole beauty of the streaming. So it's probably just basically giving you now the exact option when to do it, and it's programmed. So if you hit left, it's going to go to this next track as opposed to backing out of the movie. Yeah. So yeah, it's probably very simple on the technology side.
Yeah, I don't know. That sounds pretty cool. And then tell me about this haunts.com app. This sounds cool.
Yeah, so I've seen this website before. And it basically gives you, based on your area, it's almost like what's it, like an open table for haunts, where you search your location and it'll basically give you all the different haunt events around. And while I was on, I somehow I was one of those things where I ended up going down the rabbit hole where it was something on Facebook and it linked to a list of haunts, which was on haunts.com, and then I noticed on the side it said you can check out our haunts.com app. So I clicked on it, and literally it's awesome. It's an app. You just put in your location, and it could detect your location, and it will basically list by map or just a regular list of all the different haunted attractions in your area.
Cool.
So yeah, and it's a free app, and I think it's been around for at least a year. There's no reviews on it, which is like in terms of like star reviews, but I see people write about it underneath, so those kind of reviews. So it's very weird. I don't know how that's possible, but okay, whatever. Maybe it's a glitch in Apple, but yeah. Anyway, so I was looking at it. So actually, before we went on air today, I was actually looking through all the different haunts. I found a couple that I actually now want to check out that I didn't even know existed, like 10 minutes away from me. So that's gonna be cool. So you got to check it out, Tim. Pop in Wilmington, see what you got there.
Definitely do that. Yeah. And then we've got The Curious Creations of Christine McConnell, October 12th on Netflix, which is around the same time Haunting of Hill House is coming out, too.
Oh, right. It's going to be a good month.
So tell us about that one.
So this is a cone thing.
Oh, no.
He sent it to me, right? Yeah, he sent it right before, literally, as I was done with what I thought I was done with this first chop. And he sent this to me. You can see the trailer on YouTube. It comes out October 12th, like we said. It's kind of like it looks like it's I assume it's like more of like a full show, but it's based off of a horror cooking show where she, like this woman, I guess Christine McConnell is her name, she makes these weird, she's like a deranged horror version of Martha Stewart, but she lives with these creatures that are Jim Henson Muppets. So her and her husband, they just do that. I watched a brief trailer on it, and I'm just like, oh, this looks really bizarro, amazing, but it looks great at the same time. So it's like I kind of almost paid half attention, just enough so I get the vibe of it, because I don't want to be anything spoiled, because this looks like a really, really fun show, and it's one of those ones that you don't want to see any gags from it.
Yeah.
So it just looks great. I saw her making some kind of weird candle and the monster puppets that they have look amazing, though. I did catch that. So I did see that.
I'll tell you what, Netflix can do no wrong in my eyes lately. I mean, everything they put out. I'm hooked on this stupid Battlefish show, which is like about fishermen fishing albacore tuna in the Pacific Northwest, and I'm like completely addicted to it.
Yeah, and Kevin told me about some cool show. I only got to watch the first first episode. It was like something about I forgot the name of it, but about the traveling carnivals in England.
Yeah, I mean, they have so much stuff. Like, anything I'll click on, I find fascinating. I watched an entire documentary on the game Go. I guess over here it's kind of like Othello or whatever, where you're sort of like that. But yeah. It's just fascinating stuff. Stuff I would never dream I'd sit there and watch. We watched a documentary on pygmies the other day, like in the jungles of New Guinea or whatever. It was really cool. Anyway.
Yeah. So just real quick, I'll read you the quick synopsis of that to give a better definition of that show. It says, inside the cooking lab of Christine McConnell, who has attracted hundreds of thousands of social media followers with her creepy edible creations. So that's the premise of the show, basically. But you could see a trailer if you want.
Okay.
So yeah, it looks like it's, and apparently Christine H. McConnell is herself.
So is this like a legit cooking show, and it just happens to have puppets on it? Maybe.
Now I'm not even sure. Steve Cohn, where are you? Come back on.
Oh. Well, I'll have to look that up. I'll look up the trailer.
Yeah, look that up. I could. Oh, it's listed as a comedy talk show. That's how it is. So it might be like a legit thing. I thought it was. From what I saw of it, it looked like almost like it was a real, like a set show. But I guess it's not. It's actually like a full on just.
It still sounds
parody
good,
of the cooking show. Yeah. Oh no, it looks great. Trust me. You get enough vibe out of the trailer to know that it's going to be right up our alley.
Well, I had a very nice surprise the other day. I got an Amazon package on my doorstep, and Olivia asked me, "What did you order from Amazon?" And I said, "Nothing." But it was addressed to me, mysteriously. And I opened it up, and inside was a 300-page softcover book called Monsters in the Movies by none other than John Landis of American Werewolf in London fame. And I was like, what is this?
Yeah, I heard about this book. It's supposedly amazing.
It's amazing. So our good friend Tom, out of the kindness of his heart, sent me a hurricane, welcome back from the hurricane gift, basically is what this was. And it was incredibly nice gesture. And the book is incredible. So at the beginning of the book, John Landis basically says this is not meant to be a film history. It's not meant to be a commentary. It's not meant to be like this deep academic tome of horror movies. It's just pictures I thought were cool. And so basically he just dumped this book full of different stills from different movies and movie posters. And he puts it in a rough organization of like vampires. And then you'll have all these movies of vampires and, you know, movie stills from vampire movies, and then it'll be werewolves, and then it'll be zombies, and it's just loaded. Like every couple of pages, just loaded with 10 or 20 pictures of movie stills or publicity stills or movie posters or drawings, and it's just so cool. I've read like 50 pages of it today, just skimming through it, and it's an amazing, amazingly beautiful book, and a nice compliment to my Art of Horror book that I got for Christmas a couple years back. So yeah, highly recommend that one if you can find it. Again, Monsters in the Movies by John Landis. Really cool book.
Way to go, Tom.
Yeah, good job. Man, it could not have picked a more perfect gift for me. I was just blown away by that. And finally, on the Halloween decorating front, so I panicked the other day because I realized, I was like, oh my God, Monday is October 1st and I don't have any Halloween decorations up. Because of the hurricane, I just finished my yard work. So I scrambled, I went in the garage, I got everything down, I started just putting stuff out. I created this not a mummy, it's like a witch ghoul thing out of tomato cages and yardsticks. And I covered
the witch woman from Lake Compounce.
Yeah, yeah, the creepy witch woman. And
creepy witch woman. Yeah.
Put cloth on her in a robe, and so I made this like cool standing centerpiece. And then I put my inflatable up. I put tombstones up. I just put lights on tonight. I've got projectors on the house, like the ghost and stuff. And so I was doing all this, and my neighbor from across the street, who's the ghost hunter guy, he comes over, and his wife was like, "Oh, the gauntlet has been thrown down now." So she was like gonna get all her Halloween stuff out. Nobody on my street has decorated, and I've gone complete nuts on this year. So, we're the only house, probably in the entire neighborhood that has done anything for Halloween because of,
you'll be safe from Sam then.
Yeah, so it's starting to shape up good. It's still a work in progress. I'm gonna do a giant spider web this year, coming off of the tree with a big giant spider on it, and I'm gonna try to pick up another couple projector things, and probably try to get one more inflatable. I'm trying to get an inflatable every year, so I can just be that dumb guy that has 50 inflatables in his yard.
Just make sure you get the right inflatable this time you put out, because you had that private one that you put out last year accidentally. You don't want
that. The homeowners frown on those kind of inflatables.
Yeah, they don't like those. Yeah.
But anyway, so I thought it was pretty funny that the neighbors had accepted the challenge. So we'll see what they come up with.
Nice.
So maybe spending some money.
Tim started a turf war in his house, his neighborhood for Halloween.
But I have been told on past years that I was the best house in the neighborhood.
I have no doubt, because you have more Halloween spirit than most, Tim.
So I have to keep that going. Now, I know that is not a fact, because there is a guy that does a home haunt in his house up the street. So he technically has me beat there, but his house itself, the facade, doesn't look as cool as mine. So
yeah, but that's important. Yeah. That's the important part.
All right, well,
so the drive-by viewing.
Yes,
is what you
exactly. Mean. That's where it is. That's where it's at. Yeah. And I think I terrified some kids with my witch creation too, by the way. In fact, I almost took it down because I thought maybe it was too scary. And then I was like, yeah, screw them. They'll get over it.
That's the thing I'm going to miss about now living in where we are now. I mean, granted, I'm 8 minutes from the most horrific house in history, but in real life. But yeah, I'm missing that that one neighbor that used to put the creepy Annabelle doll out, and how it was so funny how every day they would have the head turn in a little different direction, so you would think it would moving around and everything. It was
that's awesome.
It's kind of cool.
Oh, yeah. By the way,
sometimes it'd be staring at you.
I went to Spirit Halloween yesterday, and they have a full life-size animatronic Michael Myers.
Oh, that's awesome!
I literally almost want to buy it.
Oh, is that the one where they kept showing on all over social media with the little girl dancing to it?
Yes.
Where it plays like the Michael Myers music. Oh,
like, I almost want to
awesome.
just like be screw it. Like, this is my big expense this year. Like, this is what I'm doing. Because, I mean, how awesome would that be?
Yeah, and since I can't decorate and like outside, we're in an apartment, I can't put it in a hall or at the window. I could put it towards the window at least. So maybe I should just get it and like put it up in my Civil Gore Studios and like.
I'm just terrified somebody would walk off with it, like when I wasn't home or something.
Yeah, you would need to, or it'd be scary if just you found it one day with just the mask missing from it, knowing that there's someone really walking around now with a Michael Myers.
Well, the guy across the street said somebody stole his Christmas light projector.
Ah.
Like, just walked, like, literally one night while he was home, they walked into his yard, unplugged it, and took it. So I'm terrified now that people are just going to steal all my stuff.
Yeah, no, you don't want to lose that.
Yeah. Anyway.
Unless, you know what you could do is you could also get a matching outfit to the and just every once in a while you stand there with it. So, like, they won't know which one is real, which one is the...
well, the guy 3 houses up, I've probably mentioned him before, he always dresses as Michael Myers every year. And he sits on his...
And
he sits on his porch, and he just sits there in a chair, and with a real machete, by the way. And he waits for the people to come up and get candy, and he makes you come all the way up there and take the candy from his bowl. And he won't jump at the little kids. He's he's not mean, but the big kids he'll scare. But that guy is super cool. Like he just stays motionless the whole time. It's
you got to get a video of that.
I will try to get a video this year. I could probably do that.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm going to take a picture of my Halloween decorations and I'll post them on Instagram. I do have another ghost I'm thinking of making because last year I bought a bunch of those styrofoam dummy heads. You know what I'm talking about? That are styrofoam. Yeah. And I've got some cheesecloth and I'm going to try to make me a cool like mannequin ghost thing hanging out in the tree. But I'll get some pictures up. So we have a huge dismemberment and we're 2 weeks behind. So let's get right into it. Our dismemberment.
Wait, no, please, God. No, don't cut off my...
So as you guys know, we are a couple weeks behind because of the hurricane. We missed a couple of episodes. So we missed a couple of weeks of dismemberment. So what I decided to do was quickly run through the weeks of September 25th and October 2nd, what came out during those weeks. So if there is something you're interested in, you'll know about it. And some of these are really good because I don't want to just pass them by. So first up on September 25th, we had a 4K edition of Halloween, original Halloween. There was a Rec collection, REC. That was I think there's 4 of those now. That's a box set. So that sounded pretty cool. There was the Shout Factory Exorcist 2, The Heretic Collector's Edition, which I've never seen that movie, honestly. Because I've always heard it was so bad, but it's interesting.
Yeah, it was so disappointing after the first one, and actually, I love the third one too.
Yeah,
third one is
the third one's
the scariest.
The third one's awesome.
That has one of the scariest sequences I think in movie history. That with in that hospital.
We need to do that one.
Whatever
that might be one for this month to do because I'd really like to see that one again.
And we did. It's funny we didn't even do 1 or 2.
I know.
Maybe we'll do. Maybe we'll skip ahead to 3 because I don't know if that's actually would ever really fit into the slaycation per se.
And 1 is we're saving that one for a milestone. Probably 100 or
something like that. So maybe we'll just skip to 3 because it's different and it's it's enough that you can. It's not like you're gonna be lost.
No, if you haven't seen the original Exorcist by now, you deserve to be lost.
You're probably not listening to this podcast either. So
we had something called Body Melt from 1993, which sounds interesting. The House on Tombstone Hill from 1989. The Swarm from 1978, Absurd from 1981, The Bride from 1985, Puppet Master The Littlest Reich from 2018, of course, The Baby from 1973. If you've never seen this film, it is a weird movie. It's kind of like Pooh Man from Scarewinds. It's a grown man in a diaper, so that's all you need to know. There was
and it's 73. That could be our decades if you haven't seen it.
That's right. Yeah, that's a good one to watch. It's really strange. And Brian, we forgot to mention you got kind of chased down by a man baby at Halloween Horror Nights.
I did. Yeah, he seemed to kind of
really
take fondly to me. Yeah.
And then finally, the Cyclops from 1957. So those were your releases for September 25th. Then on October 2nd, you start seeing that flood of horror movies coming out for October.
But I just bought this Wolf Cop box set a couple of weeks ago. Remember?
Really? Well, I mean, some of these
1 and 2.
Some of these. Sometimes...
but you know what? I think it was a Best Buy exclusive, and now it's regular.
Oh, that could be it.
That's probably what it was.
Because some of these I don't really know. Sometimes they come out a week week early or a week late, or sometimes they mix it up or reissue it. So yeah, Wolf Cop box set, the first Purge, and also 4K releases of all the Purge movies if you're into 4K.
Yeah, Best Buy's got them all on sale, and all I think steelbook versions of stuff this week for them.
Yeah, a bunch of steelbooks. We had It from 1990, The Shining, An American Werewolf in London. Those were all steelbook Best Buy exclusives. There was also a Trick or Treat FYE steelbook, but I'd recommend you wait for that collector's edition, which we'll talk about shortly.
Oh yeah.
Tales from the Hood 2. I think this was a direct-to-video release. I'd like to see that one. Feral from 2017, Bloodfest from 2018, Corpse Prison from 2018. I like that.
I don't know why that one just.
I loved it. Corpse Prison,
yeah.
And then an Annabelle 2 movie set, that'd be cool. That'd be a good, nice double feature. Even though I like the second movie vastly more than the first one. And we also had some reissues. We had a Halloween 2 steelbook and an Evil Dead 4K edition. So that's what you missed the last 2 weeks while we were out. But we have a pretty packed Discmemberment this week. And first up, this one's a huge one, and I'm going to do my rare recommendation of double dipping. So,
Well, this has got so many new things. It's almost like not even a double dip anymore. It's almost worth it to rebuy it just for all the new special features.
Yeah, it really is.
Which is almost worth the money in itself. There's so many.
Yeah, so this is, of course, Trick or Treat, one of our favorite Halloween movies of all time.
Yes.
2007 Shout Factory, directed by, of course, Michael Dougherty, starring Anna Paquin, Brian Cox, and Dylan Baker. 5 interwoven stories that occur on Halloween. An everyday high school principal has a secret life as a serial killer. Spoiler alert. A college virgin might have just met the guy for her. A group of teenagers pull a mean prank. A woman who loathes the night has to contend with her holiday-obsessed husband. And a mean old man meets his match with a demonic supernatural trick-or-treater.
See, by the way, did they act? I don't think they represented that piece well in the house. The woman who didn't like the Halloween member, and she wants to take down the stuff in the beginning.
No, they didn't.
I was a little disappointed in that one, but
there's a lot. Yeah, as we said in our last episode, there's some things I would have changed about that house. But so here's the special features. You have a brand new 2K remaster of the film, approved by Michael Dougherty. And these are the new features, by the way. You have a Tales of Folklore and Fright Creating Trick or Treat, which has interviews with the director and conceptual artists and storyboard artists. New Tales of Mischief and Mayhem Filming Trick or Treat, an in-depth interview with Michael Dougherty on the making of the film. Sounds of Shock and Superstition, Scoring Trick or Treat with interviews with Michael Dougherty and composer Douglas Pipes, which is a great composer name. Oh my god.
Yes, right. Okay.
Tales of Dread and Despair, Releasing Trick or Treat, a look at the release and fandom with Michael Dougherty and writer Rob Galuzzo of Shockwaves fame. And Season's Greetings, a new 2K scan of the original 16mm elements, and a short film by Michael Dougherty with optional commentary by Dougherty. Now, that is on the existing disc.
Right. It was just a new version of it, the new 2K scan of it. Yeah.
New storyboard and conceptual artwork gallery, a new behind-the-scenes still gallery, a new Monster Mash, a story from the Trick or Treat graphic novel, which I have, which is really cool. Some new FearNet.com shorts, and then you, of course, have the audio commentary. I believe that's the same one from the original.
Yeah,
disc.
I think that. Yeah, the rest is, I think, pretty much the same, which was still a lot from the original
that was
release.
A featurette, deleted and alternate scenes, school bus effects comparison, and theatrical trailer. So, but there's enough new on here, definitely worth getting the collector's edition.
And you know, it's funny it was so long ago when it first was released on Blu-ray. That was back when Blu-ray were getting bonus features that the DVD weren't.
Yeah.
Kind of trying to remember that, because I remember the DVD did not have the deleted scenes. And it was the Blu-ray had all the bonus features. So that was when they were really trying to push people away from DVD onto Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm. Now, the next one up is another movie that I just absolutely love. I've always loved this movie.
And you finally got to ride the coaster.
I did. So this is House on Haunted Hill from 1999. I love this movie. I loved it even when it came out, and even when I think many people didn't like it. I always loved this movie. I've always loved it. Released by Shout Factory. This is the collector's edition of House on Haunted Hill, directed by William Malone, starring the great Jeffrey Rush, Famke Janssen, Ty Diggs. An amusement park mogul offers a group of diverse people $1 million to spend the night in a haunted house with a horrifying past. So, of course, the Hulk coaster is what Brian's talking about from Universal, which I got a front row ride on, which was awesome. And so this one has not as packed as the Trick or Treat disc, but still pretty cool. It's got a brand new 2K remaster, a new interview with director William Malone, a new interview with composer Don Davis, a new interview with visual effects supervisor Robert Skotak.
I think so.
Never before seen storyboards, concept art, and behind the scenes photos, and audio commentary with director William Malone, a Tale of Two Houses vintage featurette, behind the visual effects vintage featurette, deleted scenes, theatrical trailer, TV spots, movie stills, and poster gallery. This is a must buy for me. Now, the Trick or Treat is obviously my pick of the week.
Right.
But I would almost dare say this is almost a tie with it. I love this movie.
Yeah. You know what? I'll pick that one just so we even
Okay,
out.
there you go. Yep. So
because they're both one of us needed to take one, I think, because they're both worthy of pick of the week.
Yeah, that's a great movie. This was the movie that I believe introduced that weird shaky speed up ghost effect thing.
Well, if it didn't introduce it, it definitely made it the most memorable version of it.
Great movie. I think it's kind of a cult classic now.
Yeah. Plus, it had Lisa Loeb. Which is
awesome. Lisa Loeb. I love Lisa Loeb.
She is. How could you not? She's awesome. And I remember when they announced on Twitter when they announced this edition, she actually commented. She goes, "I was in this," and she made she retweeted it. It was funny.
I'm still relevant.
Yeah, she is.
Okay, so next up is The Unnameable from 1988. If you don't know this movie, if you saw the cover art, I guarantee you would know it. You would know the creature on the thing. Released by Unearthed Films, directed by Jean-Paul Ouellet. Roulette.
Yeah, for something with unnameable, there's a lot of tricky names in this thing for Tim to fight through.
Charles Klausmeier, Mark Kinsey Stevenson, and Alexandra Durrell. High school students check out a haunted house where in the 1800s an ugly monster called the Unnameable was trapped in a vault. That's kind of cruel to call it ugly. But
yeah. How do they? Maybe it's nice looking to someone else.
Shouldn't judge appearances, right?
Yeah.
I did not see any special features for this one, so I would like to check this one out. I don't think I've ever seen that one.
Yeah, I don't either.
The next one up is from my birth year, so I need to watch it. It's called Bad Ronald. And no, it's not about a shady fast food mascot. From 1974, released by Warner's Archive, directed by Buzz Kulik, starring Scott Jacoby, Pippa Scott, and John Larch. A perverted teenage boy.
This description is classic. I love it.
As if they are not all perverted.
Right, I was going to say, it's a teenage boy. They're all perverted.
A perverted teenage boy.
And they drink beer. They drink beer.
I like beer. I still like beer.
I couldn't resist. That Saturday Night Live skit, Matt Damon, you know what? He's a hero. That was awesome.
As we instantly date our podcast.
Right, yeah.
I like beer. Okay. A perverted teenage boy who lives in the walls of a house.
What is it? The boy? What is
I can't get this. This is a one-line summary. I cannot get through it.
Yeah.
A perverted teenage boy who lives in the walls of a house finds the house sold to a family after his mother dies, and he falls for one of the new residents.
I gotta tell Tim. I mean, not to be spoilerish, but is this not close to The Boy?
It is. I was just thinking that. Yeah.
Well, now we know where they got the idea for that.
And I like how it says brand new remaster, but it doesn't say like 2K or 4K. It's just remastered.
Yeah,
trust us.
It's just new remastered.
I love how
it's got. Look at that. It's not even widescreen.
I love how it lists the fact that it's full screen. As,
oh no, it is. There it is. 130. Okay.
But they list it as a special feature. Like, that's when you're struggling, when you list the aspect ratio as a special feature.
Yeah. Why is it? Yeah. Okay. I was like, wait a minute. They just said all it said was 4, and then I realized that it had said 1.3. I completely misread yours.
There's basically no features.
Nothing.
Okay. Next up, Bloodlust from 1977, released by Mondo Macabro. I've decided every time from now on when we see Mondo Macabro, I'm going to pronounce it like Mondo Macabro.
You have to. It's almost like, doesn't that almost sound like some kind of one of those characters that would be on like the Pee Wee Herman show? Like, it's like, hey, let's go visit Mr. Mondo Macabro. And then he'd come out doing that. Hello, I'm Mondo Macabro.
Yeah. Or it sounds like a theme park show. It's like a magician. and it's like,
that's I could see what like Hollywood Nights would
Yeah.
have at it. Mondo Macabro.
Mondo Macabro. They also come out.
Yeah.
Mondo Macabro, Mondo Macabro. It's a fantastic world of magic and delight.
Oh boy.
Directed-
I think Cody might have even shut off at this point with our veer off.
I don't know
from,
how we
the
made it
Mondo
to
Macabro.
75 episodes, honestly.
Yeah, I really don't.
Oh my god.
Yeah, what happened?
Directed by Marijan Vajda, starring Werner Pochath, Ellen Umlauf, and Birgit Zamulo. A deaf and dumb accountant, suffers from a psychic trauma in his childhood. He is collecting puppets and mutilates female bodies in the mortuary. After his secret love died by an accident, he starts to kill.
And look, this one Mondo Macabro let us down. They don't even have being full frame as a special feature, unlike
I have to say, that's what a
like
pitch.
the other one.
Hey, I got this movie for you. He's an accountant. He can't speak and he's deaf. He collects puppets. All right, bear with me. Bear with me. He works in a mortuary, right, where he cuts the women up that are dead already. But then his love died. She was secret now. She was a secret love, and she died by an accident. And that like drives the puppet dude to start to kill people between his accounting gigs.
I like how he had to specify that the bodies in the mortuary were dead already.
Oh God. Okay. Which brings us right to Bong of the Living Dead from 2017.
Yeah, where are these? What kind of themed week is this?
Know.
This is
Backward Slate Productions.
That's a new one.
Yeah, that's a new one.
I don't know if we've had this
welcome
one.
Backward Slate. Directed by Max Groh. Starring Tiffany Arnold.
Or is it Grow?
Starring Tiffany Arnold, Eric Bozo. Bozo?
I think it's Bozo. Maybe we should watch it first, then we'll decide what his name is.
Oh my gosh. I have not been hitting the Bong of the Dead, by the way. I don't know why I'm so giggly tonight.
It's Tim Zalizi.
Yeah. Daniel Allen Keeley. A group of friends and zombie movie buffs have their lifelong dream come true. As their provisions run low, reality begins to set in, and they realize that the zombie apocalypse isn't all it's cracked up to be. I feel like this is one of those movies that sounds dumber than it actually is.
Yeah. Like, I could see it being, it's not so bad. Just a stupid name they came up with for it.
I feel like it's might be pretty good. But.
And once again, it does not have its full frame 31 to 1.
I think
as
Trick
a
or
special
Treat
feature.
Stole every special feature from every other disc.
It did.
Wasn't enough room.
But that poor movie, though, Bad Ronald will always be known as the full frame bonus feature movie. That's it.
The last one
couldn't even widescreen it. Think about it. Usually, sometimes I always laugh when they say the widescreen is a special feature. This is promoting the fact that it's not even that.
Well, I mean, in 1974, obviously, it's not going to be widescreen.
Yeah, but
so I guess they're promoting that it's not pan and scan.
I guess, yeah, maybe that's what they're going for. But yeah, I'm sorry, I keep going back to Bad Ronald, but
you're obsessed with Bad Ronald.
He's so bad.
Oh, by the way, I bought a David S. Pumpkins Funko Pop.
Oh, you thought you bought that?
I bought it. I was like, this is so horribly dated, but I can't help myself. Like, I'm so in the weeds with David S. Pumpkins.
He's great. He's got to come back this year.
Oh my god! Oh, he will. He'll have to be back.
Yeah.
Although, he did come back like the following year, and it wasn't nearly as good. So I don't.
True. Yeah, I think the best thing that he did was that it was the surprise of it.
Yeah.
It's hard when you expect it and you know exactly what's going on with him. So
but the pop
they need
vinyl,
to do it a
I
different
had to
way.
have it because it was such a weird license to have. I was like, I've got to have this. Like, when are you ever going to find this again?
No, yeah, you don't. I mean, other than like possibly the only other thing you may find is like a costume for him.
Yeah, they still have the costumes.
That's
I saw those at Spirit.
Oh, they still have them? Okay.
But,
yeah, I got to go to Ruby's and start taking some pictures because that's that's a big costume place, and there's right down the street from my work is one of the main locations for it. And they one of the Ruby's locations is so big it actually has a walkthrough haunt. I think last year it had it. I don't know if it has it this year yet. I haven't seen it announced, but the one near me is just really cool. It's got just tons of props and animatronics. So I'll have to go through there and take some pictures. Hopefully they don't yell at me. I've had really bad luck with this selfie stick, by the way. I was always so anti-selfie stick, but the only reason I bought it was because it's easier when Tim and I are trying to record a video, because I don't have a long arm, and his, then he's sitting there out there with his long arm. But, you can't exactly, maneuver it well, and then you're trying to try to hit the button. So this one was great because you hit the button right on the stick. But, Lake Compounce stopped me. I was going to record our announcement video in there, and they stopped me. They made me bring it back to the car. And then I lost the other one at Universal, so I'm not good. So all my hatred towards selfie sticks in the past have now come back with a vengeance, and they're all trying to get me. But I still will keep it because I know it will come in handy one day when Tim and I do a video.
Yeah.
So
that one golden time we will finally use your selfie stick.
Yes.
All right, next up, Along Came the Devil from 2018, released by Gravitas Ventures, directed by Jason Devan. Starring Sydney Sweeney, Madison Lintz, and Jessica Barth.
I know. I tell you don't want to always say it like that.
I'm sorry. Sorry, Jessica. Jessica Barth.
I know.
It makes me think of that show, You Can't Do That on Television.
Oh, yeah. I heard that. Yeah. That was great. That was a classic, that guy. He died recently.
I know, but I can't. Every time I see the name Barth, it just makes me think, I heard that.
Yeah, and it's so funny because anyone obviously around our age, that was that show was so classic. It literally. There's people there that think Slime started with Double Dare.
Yeah. And it started young Alanis Morissette. Remember they said, "Hi, Alanis," or "Yeah, Alanis."
I know, and it's so funny because you didn't know obviously at the time she just blended in as another character. And it was Moose was the one that everyone remembers,
Yeah,
and Alistair.
And Moose never came with nothing. She
And you notice how, Barth, whenever he said something, he'd kind of add a letter to everyone's name.
Yeah.
When he would die, I heard that he'd be like, "Duh, Alistair." He'd always just add the "duh" to everything.
That was such a weird show. Oh my God. Go look up clips of You Can't Do That on Television. It's the weirdest Canadian show you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah, but make sure you see one of the ones because this guy, I forgot his, oh my God, Cone's going to be shamed of me. I can't remember his name. Les something, right? The guy that played all the characters.
Yeah, he played everybody.
Character. Yeah, and he was the one, and he was the one that played Barth. He played the father that was always in that suit. It was always threadbare.
He was the guy that was the guy that was chained up in the thing, and he was always the
warden. Yeah, he was the guy that announced the shootings, whatever he was, the guard. And he played basically every adult character. But yeah, his famous one was Barth, where it always if you haven't seen it, it's basically the same over and over thing where they'd be making fun of the food, and he was this dirty looking chef, and he'd come out every time they say something. He'd go, "I heard that," but yet every time it was funny. I don't understand.
Go look up clips. It's the weird. It's weird even for Canada, actually. But
yeah.
So anyway, back to. Yeah. That was a sidetrack.
How did we get on that again?
Because Jessica Barth.
You said Barth. Yeah.
Synopsis: After a troubled childhood, Ashley searches for a connection and unknowingly invites in a demonic force, which leaves her loved ones fighting for her soul.
Oh my God! You know what? I actually think I saw this because there's a scene where she's in there talking about the demon, and the demon pops out and goes, "I heard that." Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Just don't say "I don't know." You might get slimed.
Oh yeah, and don't say you want to drink water, because then the water would come down on your head too. And actually, you know what I got to say? Our names don't get any better with our feature film here.
No.
Who the stars?
No, I don't even want to say them. I don't even want to.
You're not going to get through them.
Anyway, no theatrical releases this week, so
yeah,
nothing there. So our main feature is HOUSE LLC 2, the Abaddon Hotel, which I was pronouncing it Abaddon because I thought it was
there's
abandoned.
2 D's, yeah. I actually thought it was Abington the whole time.
Yeah, it's
from the first
Abaddon
movie too,
Hotel. So
yeah,
this one was released this year, kind of a surprise release. We heard about it very shortly before it was actually released, and then it was released for free on Shudder. Directed by Stephen Cognetti, who did the first one.
Yeah.
And starring Vasil Fluter, Jillian Gurtz. I can't do it.
Come on, you can do it. One more.
Do it. And Joy Schatz. I swear, I think I'm 12 years old. When I read names, my mind goes back to the 12-year-old. That's right.
Oh my god! Of course. How do you not laugh at that? I'm sorry. Joyce Schatz is funny at any point.
It's something about funny. They can't help it. I'm not speaking ill about the person.
No, and she's actually pretty enjoyable.
Yeah,
I thought as an actor in this.
If you don't realize your name's funny,
yeah.
I got a boring name. That's why I find other names very hilarious. So, okay. So,
yeah.
All right. So here's the synopsis. It's been 8 years since the opening night tragedy of HOUSE LLC, and still many unanswered questions remain. Thanks to an anonymous tip, investigative journalist Jessica Fox is convinced that key evidence is hidden inside the abandoned ABADDON Hotel, evidence that will shed light on the hotel's mysteries. She assembles a team equally hungry for answers with one goal: break into the hotel and discover the truth. So, if you remember the original HOUSE LLC, Brian and I both really, really enjoyed this one. This is a found footage type film. It's about a group of kids who are creating a haunted attraction in this abandoned hotel. And they are, I don't know if there's much of a plot, but it was a very entertaining movie in terms of the way the scares and stuff were set up.
Yeah, and it did kind of what you always wanted found footage movies to do, but most of them didn't do that. You know, like they chose to show a lot more in backgrounds and stuff. You know, it was a more like things like, you know, like in Blair Witch when you first saw it, you know, the build up was and you expected to see this witch which you never saw, you know, kind of thing. And it was like that. And then this one, you know, the original, you got to see some stuff, you know, you saw things.
But I think it was restrained enough too that it was very tension filled.
Right. Oh yeah. No. I wasn't trying to take that part away. It was just at least you got a payoff at some spots.
Yes, you got some really good scares in that first one.
Yeah.
So the second one is interesting. It takes kind of a not really meta, but kind of a neat approach to the first film in that there's several sequences of the film are a talk show basically where they're discussing the events of the first movie, and there's a skeptic on the show who is very skeptical that the first events of the first movie ever even happened. He thinks it was all a hoax to drum up publicity for a movie of HOUSE LLC. So it's kind of a meta type take on it, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah, and it kind of and that's how they get away with like the little bit of cheats that it does, you know, where it doesn't exactly like it's edited, you know, into the right order, you know, where the found footage tapes are. It doesn't. It's a lot cleaner cuts than most found footage movies where they have like, you know, a bit, you know, like sound, you know, and like the, you know, I mean, they have that in there, but it's like, it's definitely a more edited version of it. Like, and I think they kind of, there's even a line where they explain it, right? That like they give you why it's been edited so well. Like they think there's a tease towards the end or something where they say the guy like wants to buy the tapes or something.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they find ways to fix everything that you'd kind of question, which is kind of interesting. So.
Yeah, the format of the movie is kind of interesting. Like it starts off with an interview of a mother of one of the guys that disappeared in the ABADDON Hotel, and kind of cuts to like video footage she received of him, and then you go to this talk show, and then they're cutting back and forth between footage that they've found or uncovered. So the whole movie's kind of played out in these almost as if you're watching a documentary of a documentary almost. Yeah, it's kind of an interesting format. But so basically there's quite a bit of stuff not directly related to the central plot, as in terms of what the synopsis just told us, where, you know, she's assembling a team and they're going to break into the hotel and discover the truth. There's also some sequences of other people that have tried to go into the hotel and what happened.
There was one that freaked me out.
Which one was that?
I tell you, the one with the two guys where they picked up the girl.
Oh yeah.
That was like, I mean, I gotta tell you, I don't really like get startled easily in movies or get creeped out too much in these movies, but for some reason both the Hell Houses one do something in a way that makes it really like I think arguably probably some of the by far the top two scariest of any type of found footage movies.
Yeah, they have some really good scares in them. I was trying to pinpoint that. I've actually watched this one twice in the past 2 days. I watched it the first time just to see it, and then I watched it again kind of for the podcast because I wanted to truly understand, you know, what I liked about it, what I didn't like about it. And they do set up some really cool scares, different from other found footage films. There's one thing I think that I liked about it is in both these films, there's some tension that's built just by having the camera like go through hallways and stuff. I know you're like, well, so what, Tim? All found footage films do that. There's something about these that for some reason I feel more tension as these people are walking through the hallways and stuff. Because I think it's because they do use a lot of background stuff, background dummies and figures and stuff. So you're constantly always on the lookout for some subtle thing, not a jump scare, but you're looking for some subtle thing in the background that could be happening.
Yeah, because there's some scenes where you will literally see something in the background, the main characters never see it, and it sets up something like 10 minutes later. But and then you flip back and say, oh yeah, because it's like you're always constantly that's a good way to say it. You're always on edge because they do so many things like that. You're always kind of looking behind the characters.
Yeah,
almost.
Exactly.
And it's like and it's really unnerving. And I think the set that they chose, the setting that they chose, with the really narrow hallways and really dark thing, to the point of, a lot of one of the most current themes in that is that it's so confusing, and they actually make it into a plot point at one point why it was so confusing to walk through there. But it's even like watching the movie over and over, and you see them walk through familiar areas, you're confused on where the heck they're going. Like, it looks like it's just a never-ending house.
Yeah, and it might be that, this was filmed in a real haunt.
It was, yeah. And I found out. I want to go see it. It's called the, I just lost the name of it here. The Waldorf Estate of Fear. It's in Lehighton, Pennsylvania. And they have like a haunted hayride, the house tour, and a couple of other things there. So I was like, I want to actually try and get this to check this out now, because I know they they say it's in Rockland County, New York, which is where is where it's supposed to take place, but it actually used the place in Pennsylvania. So I kind of want to see that, because I can't. I mean, every time I'm seeing this, you say, "Wow, this would be such a cool haunt," and the fact that it really is somewhere.
Yeah, I think that'd be worth the trip, especially if you could find a couple other little things to do while you're out there.
Oh yeah, well, it depends. But yeah, there's a million theme parks and places to do, and there's. Obviously Pennsylvania is just it's like literally thousands of things. It's such a big state. You can always find something to do.
Yeah, so that'd be cool just to be at the place where they filmed the movie, I think.
Yeah. Well, I still want to visit. I realized I'm like 15 minutes away from the pizzeria from the Terrifier.
Yeah, there you go.
So I gotta go check that out. And that's like not even scary. It's just a pizzeria.
But yeah, this one's good. I don't think I could say I like this one as much as the original. And the reason, I'll give you several reasons why, but the first reason I think is because the first one was so surprising. Like, I wasn't expecting anything out of it, and it turned out to be one of my favorite found footage horror films. So there was that element, which of course you can't really replicate in the sequel because you already expect it to be good because of the success of the original. One thing I kind of did not like about the sequel, and I think it's a curse that befalls a lot of sequels, and that is that sequels ordinarily are designed to be bigger than their predecessor. So they want to show more and they want to explain more. Right. And I think that was a detriment to this film because I really didn't want it explained anymore. Yeah. And I didn't want a lot more shown. Like, I liked the restraint of the first movie. And I think this one in places maybe overplayed their hand just a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I hate there's one thing that I thought was kind of, while I liked the how it could kind of set up a third one. I mean, I guess if you haven't seen this yet, don't listen to this next sequence because this is going to be a spoiler. So give you a couple seconds here to fast forward or shut it off. Okay, so, and I saw someone write this on Shudder, and it was the perfect description of it. They said they did not like the Scooby-Doo twist at the end. Where it's revealed what's behind the whole thing. That's something that if you want a franchise, and they obviously want to do more because they set it up so there's going to be another one. Why do that now? Why put that much in the second one and make it I've seen other found footages make that mistake where then it almost tries to become a real narrative movie.
Right. Yeah. I don't like when
they do that.
I would have been perfectly happy for this to be another haunted house story where all we see is footage of things that happened to people that went in this house. Like, I didn't need the history. I didn't need the reasoning behind it. And that really detracted from the movie to me, because the first one did not have all that.
No.
The first one was more like this is a terrible event that happened, and we're piecing together what happened leading up to that event. Whereas this is more like, we're going to find out what's going on, and then we find out what's going on. I didn't like that.
See, I like the way the Paranormal Activity series did it. It always stayed true to the same format. It didn't have anything like where it turned into really a complete narrative like this sequence did. Now, and I was kind of bummed. I was actually like, this was so good. And I loved it so much up until that point where they did the thing, and I'm like, all right, now what's... But then, I think the end tease where they had the blonde girl again, when they showed her again in there, and they did that little thing that happens, which I won't say what, but at that point, I kind of left a better taste in my mouth to finish the film with, because it went back to that's the style they should have kept it in the whole time.
Yeah, and I think the other thing I thought was not as good as the first movie is the acting. Not that they're bad actors, but it's the fact that the first movie, to me, there were sequences that almost felt realistic. There were certain short segments where I go, that seems like a real interview with somebody. Whereas in this one, everybody felt a little bit too actory, if that's a word. I don't know if you understand what I'm talking about, but sometimes people just, the way they deliver lines feels like somebody acting versus somebody actually doing an interview. And all the actors in this one, I felt most of the time felt like actors.
Yeah, pretty much. Especially I hate to throw her out because she was enjoyable, but she Joy Schatz. I mean, she was kind of really over the top in it to the point of where it's just but that was the theme of it. It wasn't just her. I'm just saying she's a good example of what I think Tim was talking about, because everyone was kind of almost overdoing it for what's supposed to be. It just didn't seem as realistic as the first one.
Right, yeah. There were segments where, even the first segment where they were showing the video of the guy that disappeared initially, his portrayal just never felt realistic to me, which kind of dampened the scare of it. Because it felt more like I was watching a movie versus I'm watching actual real footage of somebody that disappeared. It was more like, this is a guy pretending to be scared type thing. Yeah. So that was kind of a disappointment. Again, I think it's kind of that sequelitis that it had where it's trying to be bigger and better. So you got a bigger budget. You got, you can hire more polished people, and you got more time to spend on history and narrative. And sometimes that actually detracts rather than enhances a movie. So.
Yeah. I still enjoyed it. I don't want to take away from it because the first half of it, almost 3/4, I would say, was really good because it had a lot of good, freaky moments in it. Yeah,
same here. I feel like I'm bashing it really hard, but I'm not. I'm pointing it out because I love the franchise so much that I think it's important to point out, the things that you didn't like. But there's plenty of really cool, creepy scares in here, and it's still one of the better found footage franchises out there.
Oh yeah, I hold it up right at the level of the Paranormal Activities, the Blair Witch. It's really because there's so many that try and do it and just fall so short. I think what was so good about the first one, it really engaged us, is that it didn't do much, but yet it did just enough and it worked. It's like whether they just hit a magic formula or they just knew just how to get you on these scares. And that kind of without really making there's some found footage just go try too hard. The first one definitely didn't try too hard. It just did the perfect balance, and it worked. It let the viewer really get most of it on their own. This one, they kind of almost it was like they were walking around the trap that found footage movies get into. They didn't completely fall in, I would say, but they almost fell in. If that makes sense.
I almost feel like it was a victim of its own success. The sequel was almost a little too eager to exploit the success of the first movie by maybe, like I said, showing a little bit too much too fast.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's there's still some really good scares in here, some really good, cool, creepy sequences. So, and it's very entertaining. Like I said, I watched it twice over 2 days. I wouldn't do that if the movie sucked. Believe me, I wouldn't bother.
And they did some cool like sound things in this one where they altered voices that like in mid sentence that I liked.
Yeah.
I thought they did. The sound guy was really good in this. They had some good sound. It's just there was a lot of. If you just want to, I mean, it definitely delivers on the creep out moments.
Yeah.
Like to the point of where it's like, whoa, that's pretty freaky.
Yeah.
It's like, and you could picture, just like that's where it was good. It sold itself on the creepy moments, and it had enough of them that it survived its other pitfalls.
Yeah, and it's on Shudder, so you can watch it,
Yeah.
and you're not. It's not like you're
like
spending a lot of money to watch it.
Yeah, and I'm definitely gonna watch it again, and I think eventually, I don't know if they're available even on Blu-ray or anything, but I would buy those. I would definitely add those to my collection.
Yeah,
if
they're definitely worth owning for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So our beer pairing this week was spot on the nose.
Yeah, it's funny though where this came from though. I was expecting if this had this, it was going to be from like a local brewery, but it's Abaddon from Denali Brewing Company in Talkeetna, Alaska. And so Abaddon is the counterpart to our winter seasonal, the Hibernale. It says each batch of this Belgian-style beer was brewed with 666 pounds. I see what they did there. Pounds of Pilsner malt, which is in keeping with the Belgian tradition of naming this devious-style beer after Beelzebub himself. So maybe that's what Abaddon is? I don't know.
It does have something to do with demons and the devil and stuff. I know that. I've heard the term before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense then. Why the hotel? Okay. It says we balance the fiendish malt bill with an ample dose of continental hops for a true Belgian experience, and it's 9.7%.
So that's a strong one.
Belgian, yeah. That'll be good. I would try that one. That
sounds good.
It's pretty good.
Our 6 degrees of decapitation. Oh, we got to go way back for this one, but we asked you to connect Pepper Martin to Barry Pepper. Pepper Martin was in Superman 2 with Gene Hackman, and Gene Hackman was in Enemy of the State with Barry Pepper.
Barry Pepper. And actually, Pepper Martin, who he was in Superman 2? Remember he was that, the bully in the diner, Rocky, where he goes, give me another plate of this garbage.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then remember, and then he beats up Clark Kent for the first time without his powers, and
man, Superman 2. Oh, I can't explain how much that movie scarred me as a child.
What, in a bad way?
It scared the crap out of me. The villains, General Zod, it scared me to death. When I almost cried when Superman lost his powers and he got beat up and he got bled for the first time. I literally almost cried in the theater.
Yeah, but that is still one of the best, one of my favorite superhero movies of all time. Is that was when that was one of those moments where the sequel was just so Empire Strikes Back.
Oh yeah, I would definitely.
And definitely. Superman 2 was at one point there was not a day I did not watch that movie.
It's one of the best superhero movies of all time, bar none.
Oh,
period.
Easily, yeah. Because a lot of that goes to Terrence Stamp, who was just fantastic. I got to meet Sarah Douglas, the one who played Ursa.
Oh, really?
Met her, at Chiller one year. Nice, sweet as can be.
Really, she scared the crap out of me.
Oh, she's very nice in person, so don't worry.
Okay. All right, and then this week we're going to ask you. Oh man, here's Joy Schatz again. We're going to ask you to connect.
Come on, you knew I wasn't going to go. I had to go this way.
Is it Joy Behar? Behar? How do you remember?
Behar, from The View.
Yeah, Joy Schatz. I don't watch The View, Brian.
Listen, I knew her from hiding. Oh, there we go. I almost spoiled part of the 6 degrees separated.
Okay.
But basically, I knew her from the movie she's in this.
So we're gonna ask you to connect Joy Schatz to Joy Behar. So
yeah. Well, she was also used to be a stand-up comic.
That's true. Yeah, I do remember her from her stand-up comic days.
Yeah. Then I don't know how she got political and went to the View, but
well, Whoopi Goldberg used to be a stand-up comic too. She's on The View.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, maybe they.
And what's her name? Rosie O'Donnell was on there too.
Oh right. Okay, so why am I shocked? I don't know. I obviously funny for someone that didn't watch, knew she was on The View now. Know the entire cast for the past 10 years. What's going on there too?
Oh no! Oh my gosh. So before we go, reminder for the Halloween horror movie challenge this month. So use hashtag Civil Gore HMC2. And tell us what you're watching, because I'm really interested to see what you guys are watching, and because like I said, it will probably give me ideas of stuff to watch as well.
Yeah, I gotta tweet mine. I know I mentioned today's show, but this will do you no good because by the time you hear it, it'll be Friday. So, as of now, you're going back in time, and I'm tweeting it on Monday night to all our followers there, so they could see what we're watching.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, as usual, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Interact with us. We always love hearing from our listeners, and we will see you back here next week.
Yes, and don't forget to book your room in the ABADDON Hotel.